Hi, I'm Susanne Alexander, a relationship and marriage educator. Let's talk today about harmonizing communication and consultation. Communication involves talking or writing, listening, observing each other's body language, reflecting, and responding constructively to all of it from your mind, heart, and soul. None of this is easy to learn to do, however. The quality of your interactions helps you to build and maintain unity and connection. Successful consultation, which is two or more people working on building understanding and making unified decisions, requires excellent communication skills. So that's where we're going to start. You gain your experience with communication from your family, friends, classmates, co-workers, and culture. Of course, this means you have each had different learning experiences. Sometimes you may be happy with how your interactions go. Other times not so much. Wherever you are currently, you can improve. I won't be talking today about skill training in praying and meditating, but it is also important to note that this type of spiritual communication can also be supportive of excellence in other types of communication. Now let's go a little deeper. Let's think about the spiritual guiding principles that may affect your communication. As you assess your skillfulness with communicating, begin to notice what spiritual principles and character qualities affect your verbal and nonverbal interactions. Consider such aspects as the purity of your motives, the degree of truthfulness you achieve, the loving frankness shared, the level of mutual and self-respect you demonstrate, the depth of gender equality that shines through, and much more. All of these influence your manner, mode, and tone of expressing yourself. Character qualities, which you may also know as virtues, also contribute to excellent interactions. Think of examples such as loving kindness, courtesy, responsibility, tactfulness, truthfulness, patience, respect, sincerity, compassion, and more. When you want to create a positive outcome with your communications, which of course is generally always the goal, the Baha'i teachings ask you to pay attention to a number of things. Consider such items as the amount and quality of content you share, the volume at which you communicate, how your communication style affects others, whether you are being tactful when telling the truth, applying the wisdom of experience, and noticing when it's timely to act or stay silent. Let's think now about the preparation that's important when you want to communicate. It can be helpful to take time to calmly think through what you want to say to each other and why you are communicating. What outcome do you desire? Can you be empathetic and see the situation from your partner's perspective? Couples quickly find that it's wise to hit the pause button when you are hungry, angry, lonely, or overly tired. Communications rarely go well under these circumstances. You can agree when to raise the issues to clear up challenges that arose, and those which could not be properly addressed at the time. When you're in the middle of a discussion and tensions escalate, it can also be timely to pause for rebalancing and to take such actions as going for a walk, praying, sleeping, eating, and so on. These actions could be together, as a couple, or in solitude, depending on your needs. Ensure that you both agree, however, on when you will resume and then keep your agreement to get back together. Now let's take a little deeper look at the quality of respect. As courtship progresses, or as any relationship progresses, the need for a deeper and more emotionally intimate communication and connection increases. Throughout your deepening relationship, You are wise to assess when to set boundaries of respect about what information to share and when, what time to spend with your families, how often to be together, physical touch, and more. Setting these boundaries requires communication. Respect also helps you to treat each other as equal partners in any situation. You both have equal voices. Both of you can speak and listen dynamically to reach an outcome you are both happy with. As you increase your respect for one another, the quality of your communications is likely to improve. Let's think of an example. In some cultures, a woman may have been taught to avoid speaking up, or a man taught to resist expressing feelings. Behaving this way or these ways for the two of them may often handicap both of you in your communications. You can then have poor interactions and make unwise decisions. Now let's think about how intimacy connects to communication. The relationship between courting partners is a unique and emotionally intimate one, as it will be in the future between husband and wife in marriage. It is likely that you each know things about each other that no one else knows. Every topic related to the past, the present, and the future comes up in your communications. The skillfulness with which you respectfully handle these interactions and maintain confidentiality appropriately directly affects the quality of your lives. One benefit of regular communication is staying current with each other's growth, needs, and desires. When you know each other well, and a situation arises when you cannot reach each other, well, then you are more empowered to confidently proceed on your own. Now let's think about a vital aspect of communication, the strength of your listening skills. When the person you're communicating with feels heard and understood, they relax, and they're more likely to feel validated and connected to you. Often you will need to pay attention to whether you are multitasking and not really listening. It can be easy to focus on one's own agenda or tasks and not really pay attention to what the other person is saying. Some qualities can help with this. Things like virtues like self-discipline, patience, empathy, and compassion influence your effectiveness as a listener. Strengthening these qualities helps you avoid interrupting and enables you to step into the other person's world. In a relationship, you will have the best outcomes when you avoid competing with each other verbally and instead accompany one another. Now let's look at mutual interaction as part of communication. When you're talking about an issue, especially if it is very emotionally charged, it helps if the speaker says only a small amount and the listener then checks for understanding. The listener can say something like, let me see if I'm understanding what you're saying. And then they can provide a summary of what they heard. This type of reflective listening gives the speaker the opportunity to confirm the accuracy of what was summarized or re-clarify. This will allow the person speaking to feel understood and foster unity. Note that confirming understanding is not the same as agreeing. You will need to progress forward in your discussion to reach mutual agreement. Make sure you take turns and give each other the opportunity to talk and be heard. Now on to another key aspect of communication, feelings, and how to express them well. A key reason to listen carefully to each other is to understand what feelings are happening inside of each of you. How you feel about a situation is part of what guides your actions and decisions. What are each of you happy about? Sad about? What do you need from each other in the way of support? What are your dreams? What are your goals? At times, offering gentle and loving questions to each other will be needed to reach mutual understanding and avoid making assumptions. You can say such things as, "You seem to be sad this morning, what's going on?" Or, "You just gave me what seems to be an angry look. What's happening?" Listening to the other person will clarify the situation. Both men and women can benefit from expanding their understanding and vocabulary of words that describe feelings and needs. These will help you dig deeper and build greater understanding. But remember, be patient with the process. At times you may easily identify feelings, and at other times sorting them out may be more difficult and may require some gentle and exploratory questions with each other. Sometimes one of you may also need to slow communication down or take time and space alone to allow feelings to surface and clarify. They just may not be immediately obvious. You may also benefit from engaging in the arts to express what you're feeling. Sometimes getting creative can help to clarify feelings. Now let's pause and take a look at a special issue. When the past you both have experienced starts to surface in your communications. Sometimes an event happening in the present triggers a feeling that has a link to some incident from the past. You can help each other with compassion and patience to recognize when this is happening and return your focus to the present moment. Think of yourself as a filing system. Sometimes it can feel emotionally overwhelming when you file your past folder of experiences and future folder of possibilities into your present folder all at the same time. Focusing on the present makes it easier to think clearly and make positive choices. Now let's take a look at the types of communication that arise between you. It's good for you both to experiment with different types of communication to assess the full range of what works for the two of you in building understanding and unity. These methods could include text messages, video conferencing, emailing, writing letters, sharing photos and social media posts, and being physically together in a wide variety of circumstances. Think about it. Have you become good at texting, but you cannot talk together when in person? That's a problem. When is one type of communication effective for you, but not others? When is prayer an option to connect you? Let's also take a look now at male and female communication differences, because they can at times be significant. Research has shown that men's and women's brains function quite differently. This often leads to different needs and patterns with speaking, listening, and processing information. Understanding that neither is right or wrong helps you to accept and work with each other. Sometimes understanding what's happening can help you respond to a difference playfully and with humor, rather than with criticism or frustration. Sometimes people assume that equality means everyone behaves the same way. However, brain wiring is a biological difference in fact that affects thoughts, emotions, and behavior. And men and women often process or approach similar circumstances in different ways. Let's also take a look at eye contact and how that affects communication. As you are learning from your different types of communication, also consider experimenting with your eye contact. When does looking at one another communicate caring? When does it feel awkward instead and actually interferes with communicating? What interpretations do you each put on different eye contact from each other? Does it change from circumstance to circumstance and situation to situation? Sometimes men and women make different assumptions, and sometimes there are cultural influences. So it's good to check for understanding. Some couples find they communicate best when sitting across from each other. And others discover that taking a walk side by side is more effective. What I'm asking you to do is experiment. See what works best for both of you and under what circumstances. Now let's shift and take a little closer look at consultation. Consultation is required by the Baha'i teachings. These teachings encourage you to turn to consultation in all matters, as a means of maintaining harmony. Regular consultation about your lives often relaxes your relationship and provides you with an opportunity to share perspectives, and it creates opportunities for understanding, unity, growth, and service. It's important to remember as we look at how to consult that there is no set procedure for how to do it outlined in the Baha'i teachings for either groups or for couples. However, it is a process that operates on many spiritual principles, such as purity of motives and the desire to build understanding, create common vision, and develop unified decisions. In talking about the pattern of learning from experience occurring across the world, the Universal House of Justice points to process steps that may be useful to consider with consulting. Quote, "As learning accelerates, the friends grow more capable of overcoming setbacks, whether small or large, diagnosing their root causes, exploring the underlying principles, and bringing to bear relevant experience, identifying remedial steps, and assessing progress, until the process of growth has been fully reinvigorated." It's important now when we talk about couples to address the issue of informality. When you consider consultation between a couple, it is often more informal and flowing rather than carried out formally. However, couples can benefit at times from developing an agenda and agreeing on how to approach consulting about a matter in a bit more formal way. Each couple will work out their own ways of consulting over time and in different circumstances. Remember, excellence in consultation is linked to excellence in communication skills. And that's what we invite you to build.